Hello children, today we will see our next chapter, chapter number 9 of class 8 science textbook, that is reproduction in animals. This chapter we are going to see in parts in various videos. So let's start. Mode of reproduction. In class 6 itself, you have studied how reproduction is one of the characteristics of living organism. They have to reproduce to sustain their species into the earth. Reproduction means producing their own kind, producing a baby or their offspring which are of same characteristics, similar characteristics. There can be two modes of reproductions in animals, that is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So let's see them one by one. The type of reproduction which involves fusion of male and female gametes, that is sex cells, is known as sexual reproduction. So fusion means mixing of male and female gametes. Male gametes is sperm and female gamete is the egg or the ovum. So about them in detail we will see further in the video. But in sexual reproduction, the fusion of these two takes place. And in sexual reproduction, two parents will be involved. One will be male and one will be female. And after the fusion of the male and female gamete, zygote will be produced in the sexual reproduction. Whereas the type of reproduction in which only a single parent is involved is called asexual reproduction. And in asexual reproduction, no gametes or sex cells are produced. So, in asexual reproduction, no gametes are produced or involved in the reproduction process. So, no zygote. Zygote is also not produced in asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. In this chapter, we will mainly see the sexual reproduction in especially human beings. So these are the male reproductive organs. These are the organs which help in the facilitate in the reproduction process. So male reproductive organs mainly comprise of seminal vesicle. These are seminal vesicle, prostate gland, ejaculatory duct, ductus deferens, epididymis, this one, and testes or testicles. Males have two testicles or testes. This bulging part is glans penis and this whole part is called penis. Here testis or testicle is the male gonad. You have to remember testis is the male gonad. It produces male hormone called testosterone and male gamete called sperm. So one difference between gonad and gamete is the sex cells which goes out of the body from the male's body and fuse with the egg. And what produces this gamete? Testis produces the male gamete. So testis is considered as male gonad, and testis also produces a hormone called testosterone hormone, which is also known as male sex hormone or male hormone. Male gamete or human sperm. Male gamete is the sperm, and this is the structure of a sperm. This part is called head. A human sperm can be divided into three parts: head, middle piece, and the tail. The head contains acrosome, which is just at the tip, you can see, and nucleus. Acrosome contains some digestive enzymes, and this nucleus contains the genetic material. Usually in human beings we have total of 46 chromosomes in each of our cell, except the gametes. In gametes we have half the number of chromosomes. So other cells of our body have 46 numbers of chromosome, But in the gamete, this nucleus have only 23 chromosome. Why it have 23 chromosome? That we will discuss later. Then this is the neck part. This is the middle piece. In the middle piece, you can see some structures. These are mitochondrion or mitochondria, which is in spiral shape. Mitochondria, so many mitochondria are present because a sperm have to travel very far to reach the egg. That is why so many mitochondria are there to provide energy for the motility or movement of the sperm. Then it has this tail. This tail help the sperm to swim towards the egg. And human sperm is a single cell which is covered by a plasma membrane. Female reproductive organs. This is the uterus part where the baby is present inside the mother's body. This is also called as womb. This is cervix and this opening is the vagina. The inner lining of the uterus is known as endometrium, and females have two hand-like structures. These are called fallopian tube, or it is also known as oviducts. This fallopian tube have finger-like structures. Can you see here? These finger-like structures are called fimbriae. Finger-like structures are called fimbriae, and fimbriae are the part of infundibulum. Fallopian tube can be divided into three parts. This is infundibulum. This bent part is ampulla, and this part which connects the ampulla and the uterus, this part is isthmus. These two structures are ovary, and this you can see this connection. These are ovarian ligament. This connects the ovary to the uterus. This is ovarian ligament. So these are parts of reproductive parts or reproductive organs in females. Female gonad is ovary, as the female gamete is egg or ovum which is produced by the ovary. So ovary is the female gonad, and ovary also produces a hormone called estrogen. So estrogen is the female hormone. You remember one thing, ampulla is mostly the site of fertilization where male and female gamete fuse with each other. And you might hear about ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy also takes place in this ampulla. Female gamete. So this is a structure of female gamete or ovum or egg cell. Ovum is singular. For plural we use the term ova. So an egg cell mainly comprises of a nucleus. Inside nucleus is nucleolus. This is cytoplasm, which is covered by plasma membrane, and then zona pellucida. This one is zona pellucida. In this outer structure is corona radiata. Like the sperm cells, human ovum also contains 23 chromosomes only, that is half the number of chromosomes. Corona radiata or the follicular cells as well as zona pellucida or jelly coat protects the inner layers of the ovum and helps to prevent polyspermy. Polyspermy means more than one sperm. You have to remember that during fertilization or fusion of male and female gamete, only one sperm and one egg mix or fuse with each other. So, to maintain that the corona radiata and zona pellucida protects the polyspermy, so that more than one sperm cannot fuse with the or enter in the cell. You know, children, that about millions of sperms are produced at a time. At one ejaculation, millions of sperms are produced. So the role of corona radiata and zona pellucida is very important to protect the egg from polyspermy. Now let's see what is fertilization. The fusion of the egg or the ovum and the sperm cell is called fertilization. During fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus, which results in the formation of a fertilized egg or zygote. So egg is a single cell which contains 23 number of chromosomes. This is the egg. And sperm is also a single cell which again contains 23 chromosomes in it. So during fertilization, what happens? The sperms come and try to enter inside the egg. When the first sperm which is able to enter inside the egg, its head part gets broken off by its tail. The head part enters inside this egg. Do you remember acrosome? Acrosome contains digestive enzymes which breaks down this layer, and the nucleus of the sperm and the nucleus of the egg, nucleus of the sperm and the nucleus of the egg, they both fuse together and become one nucleus. Then we will say that this is now a fertilized egg. As soon as one of the sperm enters the egg, this zona pellucida and corona radiata, they start to change their chemical composition, so that other sperms, even if they try, they cannot enter it. Do you remember? Ovum have 23 chromosomes and sperm have 23 chromosomes. If both of their nucleus fuse together, both of their chromosomes will also get mixed, and 23 plus 23, it will give us a total of 46 chromosomes, which is the same number of chromosomes in other parts of the cell. That is why the gametes have only half number of chromosomes in them, so that when they will fertilize, they will give us the correct number. Fertilization can be of two types: internal fertilization and external fertilization. The fertilization which takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. That means fusion of male and female gamete will take place inside the body of the female. Some examples are humans, crocodiles, birds, etc. And in fertilization, in internal fertilization, less number of gametes are produced. While in external fertilization, fertilization which takes place outside the female body, for example in fish, frog, toads, etc., and hundreds of gametes are released. So in internal fertilization, fusion takes place inside the female body. In external fertilization, fusion takes place outside the female body. Examples are mentioned. Mainly the higher organisms like humans, crocodiles, birds, reptiles, they undergo internal fertilization. And as it is internal fertilization, the fusion is taking place inside the female's body, there are less chance of not getting pregnant or not getting the fertilization done. So that is why the eggs and gametes are safe inside the female body, and there is a high chance of them getting fused to each other. So less number of gametes are produced in this case. While in external fertilization, fusion is taking place outside the female's body in the outer environment. So there may be various dangers, maybe due to harsh conditions like very sunny day or very heavy rainfall. They may lead to many situations where the eggs or the sperms may flow away. That is why, to ensure that fertilization does take place, hundreds of gametes are released, so that even if some of them are flown away with the water, at least few of them have some chance of getting fertilized. Next, let's see in vitro fertilization, which is also written as IVF. In vitro fertilization means fertilization outside the female's body. It is mainly for those organisms who normally in normal situation they have internal fertilization, but due to some reasons they are unable to get pregnant. In such cases, in vitro fertilization are done. How we do this process? The freshly released egg and sperms are collected and kept together in a petri dish for a few hours to allow fertilization. There are many reasons due to which the female may not get pregnant. The sperm may not reach or may not be able to fertilize the egg. So in such cases, the couples can go to the hospitals for in vitro fertilization. Here, egg from the female will be taken out and sperm from the male will be taken. Both of them will be put in a petri dish. Petri dish is like a plate, and there for few hours they will be allowed to fertilize. After fertilization, the zygote is allowed. As we know that after fertilization, zygote formation takes place. So if fertilization occurs, the zygote is allowed to develop for about a week, and then it is placed in the mother's uterus. After a week of the fertilization, the zygote will start developing. It will divide and it will make a lump of cells. So that zygote is then placed into the mother's uterus. Then complete development takes place in the uterus of the mother, and the baby is born like any other baby. Babies born through these techniques are called test tube babies. This name test tube babies is a little misleading because the babies are actually not developing inside the test tube. They are developing inside the mother's body. Let's see the various processes during development of the embryo. But before going to the process, we have to understand few terms. Let's have a look. Ovulation, the release of a mature egg from one of a woman's ovaries. Generally it happens once every month. So you must remember from the picture earlier that females have two ovaries in them, and one of the ovaries will release an egg once every month, and when it is released, another cell will start developing, and it takes about a month. So after complete development, when the mature egg comes out from the ovary, that process is called ovulation. Embryo. An embryo is an early stage of development of a multicellular organism. It lasts up to 10th week of pregnancy. So when zygote starts dividing, it is now known as embryo. After fertilization, that single cell with the fused nucleus from the egg and the sperm, that single cell is called zygote. But as soon as zygote starts dividing, this is now termed as embryo. So embryo is the early stage of development of a multicellular organism. Fetus. Both the spellings are correct. The stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called a fetus. That means we can easily identify the legs, head, hands of the baby inside mother's body. So that stage is called fetus. After first fusion, then zygote formation. After zygote formation, it divides and becomes embryo, and after embryo, when the body parts are identifiable, it is now termed as fetus. and it starts from the 11th week of pregnancy till birth. Parturition. The process of delivering the baby and placenta from the uterus to the vagina to the outside world is called parturition. It is controlled by oxytocin hormone. So when the baby comes out from the mother's body, that process is called parturition, and it is mainly controlled by a chemical which is produced in our body called oxytocin hormone. Placenta. The placenta is a temporary organ that develops in the uterus during pregnancy. It connects the mother and the fetus, transferring oxygen and nutrients from the mother to the fetus and permitting the release of carbon dioxide and waste products from the fetus. So this placenta is a layer which develops when a female gets pregnant, and the baby is actually present inside the placenta. This placenta protects the baby and it keeps the baby away from the uterine environment, and inside the placenta the baby is present. This placenta helps the baby and the mother to connect, and through this placenta they can transfer oxygen and nutrients from mother to the baby. Amniotic fluid. It is the protective fluid contained by the amniotic sac in placenta. The fluid serves as a cushion for the growing fetus and facilitates the exchange of nutrients, water, etc. between mother and fetus. So inside the placenta, another sac is there called amniotic sac, and inside that sac the baby or the embryo is developing, and that sac is filled with amniotic fluid. The main purpose of this amniotic fluid is to protect the baby, as if a mother gets a push or collide somewhere or get a shock, then the shock of that push or pull is actually absorbed by this amniotic fluid, so the baby doesn't get affected. This amniotic fluid also can help us to determine the sex of the baby. Whether the baby is a boy or a girl can be determined with the help of this amniotic fluid. Next is umbilical cord. It is the tube-like structure that connects the developing baby to the placenta. So placenta and the baby are actually connected through umbilical cord. Umbilical cord consists of arteries and veins, that means blood vessels, through which mother will provide oxygen and nutrients to the baby, and after consuming them, the waste product and the carbon dioxide again will go through umbilical cord from the baby to the mother for its release. Now let's see the development of embryo. When an egg cell matures, it comes out from the ovary. This process is called ovulation. And here this fallopian tube have this finger-like structures called fimbriae. So these structures can move and they will help the egg to enter inside the fallopian tube. So now it has entered inside the fallopian tube, and through infundibulum it will reach this bent part which is called ampulla. In the ampulla, here can you see, this is the egg and 3 sperms are here. This ampulla is mainly the site for fertilization. That means sperm will enter through vagina and it will come towards here, and the egg and the sperm will fuse together by the process of fertilization. When they fuse together, they form zygote, and after fusion the zygote starts dividing. It will divide into 2, then 4, then 8, then 16, then 32, like that the cells will divide. So slowly each day it will divide and the number of cells in the zygote will increase, but You remember that even after dividing, these cells keep attached to each other. They are not freely moving in, they are not independent, they stay attached to each other. So in the ampulla, fertilization will take place, and as the zygote starts dividing, it becomes embryo, and embryo slowly passes through the fallopian tube and enters the uterus of the mother. Inside the uterus, it reaches about the stage of blastocyst. This is called the stage of blastocyst, and this blastocyst enters into this uterine wall of the female or endometrium and get attached to it. Here can you see this is coming, and after attaching itself to the wall, it is embedding into the wall. It gets embedded. That means it gets inside the uterine wall, which is a very thick wall, and here it attaches itself, and the embryo starts developing now in the uterus of the female. Slowly the embryo will develop into fetus, and after a period of 9 months the baby will be delivered. So here we have come to the end of this video. I hope that you have understood the whole process thoroughly. In the next video we will see the further topics. Thank you.